Noia e mauri, o toasa le John Taukewe, ma ngofa ne mutusa e itutiu, ma pepoua e malhaa e os otmote rutuma. Noia to everyone. My name is John Taukewe, and I come from the village of Mutusa in Itutiu and Pepoua in Malhaa on the island of Rutuma. I welcome you to this Talanoa with Dr. Vilsoni Hereniko, a professor in cinematic studies at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. At the time of this recording, I dedicate this Talanoa in celebration across the world, Rutuman Language Week. Indigenous knowledge is much more than what we think it should be, extended beyond the cognitive mindset of written texts. In Oceania, knowledge gained through generations of direct experiences, relationships, and creative art have equally provided a platform of credibility towards academic research. Pacific academic heroes like Dr. Vilsoni Hereniko lay out the foundation of why oceanic knowledge systems and its art forms envisage the cultural life of its peoples and makes it a living knowledge. Dwelling into spaces of knowledge, it is important to explore the libraries of where such knowledge is kept and shared. Nosediving first into Jorge Luis Borges and his navigation around the concept of what a library is. A psychological space through descriptive elements in a place-based context of hexagonal dimensions, infinite information, and knowledge with periodic catalogs. The Hanua is my library, and we are the books because we carry this vast knowledge, this wisdom, the memories and the legacies within us coursing through our veins. We are the waters of knowledge that flow within our bodily vessels. This knowledge and the Hanua as a library is, in Borges' words, so huge that any reduction by human hands is infinitesimal, and he is right. This knowledge constantly circulates our Hanua World Library, that we as humans occupy only a fraction of what it holds upon its shelves of rocks, reefs, clouds, forests, sands, mountains, and all that exists in our world and universe. Yet with the knowledge we do possess within the capacity of our minds and that of our ancestors, we share and pass down orally written in the modes of stories, chants, song, dance, carving, tattooing, and crafts to the posterity in historical catalogues through times of the past, the present, and the future. Dr. Hereniko shares his experiences on the knowledge of Hanuchu, or talking story in the Rutuman language, and its importance molding him into who he is today as a holder, a keeper, and an encyclopedia of this living knowledge.
Then my father, who was a great storyteller, tell us the so-called, Hanuchu, the myths and legends of Rutuma. And those stories really fired my imagination and sustained me in that I was able to travel through my mind beyond the physical confines of the island, which, as you know, is only about 9 miles by 2. But through my imagination, I could be all over the world.
He shares an example of this living knowledge and how it was used in his daily life in the moments of catching small hermit crabs to use as bait when going out fishing. By singing this chant, the crab would come out and they would use it as bait. Living knowledge like this is in many ways for oral history in the Pacific important in knowing how they live. This knowledge can and must be preserved, and its credibility cannot be questioned because of lived experiences and proof from knowledge holders like Dr. Hereniko in this case.
And you probably know the thing about the hermit crab. We use it for fishing in Rutuma as bait. And to get it out as a kid, we'd go looking for the fico. And when we find them, we'd hold it. And then we would sing to the fico. We would say, Fico o rita la sur, ma se te la hua, yo te aunga, fico o rita la sur. And you sing like that, and then it slowly comes out. of the shell and you
Mm.
grab it, and you pull it right out, and you turn it out, and you put it at the end of your fishing hook, and you throw it to the, and the fish eats it, and then you pull the fish. So,
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that amazing? To get the
Yeah.
bait, you sing to the hermit crab, and it comes out and says, "Here I am, use me."
In exploring research methodologies and indigenous epistemologies, practices and activities around research must be centered and directly engaged with the community. Take oral history, for instance, being a practice-based research that has been reduced for a long time as an unreliable source of knowledge and information, reduced to fantasy and myth. Maori scholar Nepia Mahuika helped change the narrative in noting its worth, especially researching oceanic communities and their ways of being, their histories, and their existence. These indigenous methods are powerful and must not be ignored as they carry a community's identity with them, and because of this, oral history has become increasingly more influential and mandatory when carrying out research. Mahuika expresses the importance of oral history in the forms of songs, chants, dance, poetry, and storytelling, that these performances tell the histories of Maoris and their ancestors through living experiences of knowledge that unravel multiple layers of reflected customs, protocols, genealogy, and kinship. My Talanoa with Dr. Hereniko openly expresses this in his lived experiences in Rotuma with Niu.
The importance of the coconut of Niu, which is what we call the coconut, to the Rotuman people. As a young as of 11, I mentioned that often we didn't have enough food, so I would go to the bush looking for coconuts to eat. And the hara, the coconut seedling,
Yes,
to grow. Yeah, I would go with my machete and find the hara and cut them open and sit down and have my meal there. And of course, there's always the coconut water and the coconut flesh. And without the coconut tree, I probably would have died, So I would always, I'm always grateful to Niu for sustaining me physically. Stories sustain me in terms of my soul, my imagination, my aspirations, and my desire to get out of Rotuma and experience the world that I've been told about, in stories and also in the books that I was reading.
This knowledge is also evident in his poem that he shares with me during the Talanoa, and is also interweaved within the editor's note for the journal, The Contemporary Pacific, in its 34th volume.
When I'm old and drooping, don't walk by without saying hello to me. You drank from me. You ate my flesh too. My leaves gave you shelter. Remember? So take a part of me and make me a part of you. Then feel me. Caress me like you've never done before. Be gentle with me. Be patient too. And together, you and I will give birth to new creations.
Oceanic knowledge is important, and sharing that knowledge through different art forms is even more critical for Pacific Island studies and oral history. Despite that, for many years, academia has viewed indigenous knowledge in a way that has been treated separately, objectively, and in a you versus us mannerism in the pursuit of knowledge. It is my hope that through my research and this Talanoa with Dr. Hereniko, I can provide an understanding of how oceanic and Rotuman knowledge can further enhance what Pacific Island studies and oral history will look like in the future. Foyaxia.